Well, so good morning, everybody, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to express myself and to highlight to you this unique feminist event, which is a race that is organized pretty soon, in a couple of weeks, in the 21st of November. This race is called hashtag Stop VFF, or Stop aux violences faites aux femmes, which means stop violence against women. And my plan today is to explain to you how unique this event is in Lille, because it has been built by three structures that are very important. The first structure that built this race is, of course, Osez le Féminisme, that I belong to. It's a feminist association in North that the only goal of this association is to make equality in between men and women. That's the only goal we have. The second structure that helps this race is the LMA. The LMA is the Lille Métropole Athlétisme. It's the most famous track and field club in north of France. It's very famous because it organizes lots of big competition in north of France, like trail, marathon, and different very famous events. And it is also very, very famous because it brings very good athletes to Olympic Games, for example. Like in Paris, 2 summers ago, the only French athlete that got a medal, it was from the LMA. It was a woman. She's still called Sirena Samba Mayela, and she's a black woman, and she got the silver medal in 100 meters hurdles. And finally, the third structure that help us to do this race, it's obviously the City Hall of Lille, and especially the equality in between men and women services. So that's the three pillars of the race, and that's what I'm going to try to explain to you, how it became such a big race, and what are all the values that makes us work together, and to show you how finally this is a passion that brings us together to this race. But before, let me just introduce quickly me to you. So I am Audrey Bécourt. I am a sports teacher. I was an athlete in volleyball a couple of years ago, a long time ago, and I went in the Krebs, in a center of volleyball when I was young. I became a sports teacher, and now I am back to my school, and I am back to the health and sports department. I am in charge of the equality in between men and women in the health and sports department. And finally, I am a board member of the Osez le Féminisme. And so, as you can see, all of my personality, either professional or my hobbies, are all linked together about equality in between men and women. So let's go back to this race, and let's see what it is exactly. So this race will take place in the Citadel de Lille, which is a big city park in Lille. It happens in November at night. It's on a Friday night, and I'll explain why it's at night a little bit later. You can run 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers, or you can decide to walk 5 kilometers. And when you buy the bib, a part of the money will go back to regional associations that help women that are victims of violences. It's the 7th time we organize this race, and we are waiting for 900 participants to this race, which is enormous and which is one of the most famous races in Lille. And this is pretty unique, as long as I know, in France too, this kind of feminist race. We called it the Purple Wave of Lille because it's at night, so everybody has lights, different kind of lights, and also because the shirts, as you can see, is purple, because purple is a feminist color. And this is pretty much it for the presentation of the race. And now let me just explain you how, and this is what is very interesting, and what I would like to tell you today is how this was built 7 years ago. One of my friends, Nathalie, she was pretty much like me. She's a sports teacher. She plays rugby in Arras, and she was part of Osez le Féminisme. She decided she saw how sports was such a tool to bring values to anybody, to lots of persons. So she decided to create a race for women and to spread out women's equalities and in a race. So first of all, when she decided that with her team, with the Osez le Féminisme team, there were only 300 or 400 participants 7 years ago. But then, because of her job, because she was a physical education teacher, she met Thibaut, who is the community manager of the LMA, and they were they completely agree with the values. So Thibaut decided to help her and to bring the skills he has in big sports events. So together, they started to make a bigger race. And the story is, as she was walking in the Citadel with the flyers, she met Martine Aubry, who was the mayor at the time. And obviously, as you might suppose, she was completely sensitive to the cause and to the equality. So she decided to take Thibaut and Nathalie to different meetings at the city hall. And that's how it all was born. But Nathalie always tried to have to keep 4 specificities to the race, and one of the first specificities to the race is that she said that it had to happen right before the 25th of November, because as you may know, the 25th of November is the International Day of the Eradication of Violence towards Women. So she decided they all decided it was going to be right before the 25th. So that's why it's the 21st this year. The second specificity that she asked, it was that, and that's probably the most important that we might understand today, is that it has to be at night and it has to be in a city public park, because the idea we want to spread out is that women could run, could go anytime, anywhere they want, without anybody, just by themselves, just as free as anybody else. The third specificity of the course of the race is, of course, the purple, as you understand. And finally, the last thing she asked was to bring money to any regional association that helps women when they are victims of violence. So that's how the team grew, and today we are preparing the 7th edition. That's the 7th time we are going to do the race. So now, what are finally our responsibilities in between the LMA, Osez le Féminisme, and the Equality Department of the City Hall? So the LMA, as you understand, is completely in charge of all the security system, of the planification, of printing the bibs. So that's his part. The equality services of the City Hall is in charge of linking all together all the different associations that works to help women. And we build a village, and we have 12 associations that are together at night, not running or walking, but just giving awareness towards women's violences. And finally, our association used this race to communicate, to give research results or statistics of violences towards women. And I don't know if you know, but in north of France, we are one of the, unfortunately, regions that is very, very, where you can find lots of violence towards women. So that's our responsibilities today. And so that was the specificity of the event. And on the next slide, you will have all the, that was last year, on the year 2024. all the communication that was about the race is on this slide, and I will just explain a couple of numbers that are very important to me. So I told you it's 9,000 participants, but if you look a little bit under the 9,000, it's really important to know that there's 65% women that are involved in that race, and 35% of men, which is the opposite of usual race. Usually when on marathon, you've got 60% or 70% of men running and only 30 or 40% women. So this is interesting. It's really good news for us because first of all, women are running, so that's a good thing. But there's also men that are coming and that are probably spreading out values about equality, which is great. We managed to give 12,000 euros to Solfa, which is the regional association we decided to give money. We managed to make a big partnership with the university because there's a little bit less than 1,000 bibs that are for the university. And finally, so on the village we have 12 associations. That makes a big thing too. And finally, as you can see on the slide, there's lots of different way of communicating about the race and about the values of equality. And maybe this year, well, not maybe, we're supposed to have the TV, WEO, the regional TV, that is going to do a live for an hour and a half with us. They are going to build a studio at the Citadelle de Lille, which is pretty cool. So just to, also I forgot to say that Osez Féminisme also, we made a partnership with Karine Boucher. It's been 3 years that we made a partnership with her. She's an exceptional woman. She's from Saint-Omer, right next to here. She's a world champion of paragolf, because she's also known because she's a victim of a feminist attempt. And after that she recovered and she became a very good player in golf. So she comes every year on the stage with us, and she help us to spread out the values of equalities. Our goals for the future, we try to maintain the same energy, the same passion. We would like to increase the number of participants with the connected challenge. That's the first year we're going to do that. So that means you can buy a bib, but you run whenever you want, and in Paris or Marseille or wherever, London, where you want. We would like to make a difference on the shirt in between women and men's shirt, because it's been 7 years that we are all running with a men's shirt, like it's most of the time on the other races. Finally, we would like also to communicate more clearly with what is the money about, what does this association does with the money, how many women they really help with the money, how many houses they build with the money. And the last thing is we'd like to make a focus also on the women with disabilities, because we know that on the statistics show that the sexual abuse happens twice as often to women with disabilities. So that's our goal, especially with our partnership with Karine Boucher. Well, that's all about this race. I hope you come and join us to walk, or just to spread out the values of equality, and I thank you very much.